Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Beth O'Connor with LIBOR, and I'm really excited that you've joined our webinar today. This is the first time we've done one with a little mix of everything in, so I'm very excited about it, and I think there's some great ideas here that you can try to really improve your CMA skills. Some of you may be brand new agents looking to just start getting better at CMAs, and others may be more experienced and looking for a little edge or just ways to improve. So I applaud you either way, whatever your decision is for being here. And let's begin. We have so much to cover. So in the panel on the uh, up there in the corner of your screen is the GoToWebinar panel. I put the handout for today there. If you click on it, it will download to your computer and then you can print it out. You don't need it for what we're doing now, but you'll want it for later. And it'll be a helpful guide. Really, everything I'm doing step by step is in the handout, so you won't be left hanging. I wouldn't even worry that much about taking notes. Just kind of catch it. But if you want to print it now, just click on that link. It says Improve CMA Skills Handout. Just click right on that in that box up there at the top, and you know, enjoy that. I hope it's helpful. If for any reason you have trouble getting that, my email address is right here on the PowerPoint screen, boconnor@mlsli.com. Just email me afterwards and I can email you that handout if you have any difficulty with it. But if you have questions, just type them into the questions box. Also in that same panel, I can't hear your voices. You can hear mine, but there's too many people on this to have everybody's microphones opened up. So just type the question. I'll try to address questions that apply only to that segment. I have 5 steps that I want to cover with you that I think will really help you improve your CMA skills. So let's get started. Okay. So you'll see on my screen, you'll see that I have Stratus, the home screen here. I've got a nice big cursor, so you'll be able to see where I am going along. If you want, you can move my camera, the camera of me, to the side. You can make your screen, the screen of what I'm showing, larger. Just look for those little options to do that. I'm going to actually get my webcam out of my way. Okay. Great. All righty. So the first thing I want to share with you is that I think it's really important if you want to get better at CMAs that you really study the data. Now, the word study always just makes everybody freak out because who wants to go back to school? But the reality is, unless you spend some time researching and even trying to remember some of what you're seeing on Stratus, the better you'll be at creating the CMAs. So the first thing that I really want you to do, and this is something for you to do daily, and that is to check your today's listing section right here on your info center. Everybody has a today's listings. If you've not set this up before, you're going to do that in settings. I won't go through all the details for that, but over here in settings, you're just going to click on that and go to this tab right here that says market areas and put in the areas where you cover. And then when you come each day into Stratus, you'll be able to see the newest listings and the changes, the updates, which will include the under contracts and the closings. So my recommendation to you is every day, first change this from today to 3 days back, because you never know if you missed a closing or you missed an under contract listing. And it's safest really to go back a few days just to make sure you've got it all. So if you go 3 days back, you'll see these numbers kind of jumped. 6 new listings in Merrick and Belmore. I just did residential for this one. And 54 updates. So what I would do is click on the 54 updates. And then I would sort this by the LSC. That's the last status change, LSC, because that way I can group together the ones that are under contract and the sold. So all you do is just click right on that header and sort. So you see I have 3 closed. One of these just went in the last half hour, I would say. You can see the title dates here. 2 of them closed today and 1 of them closed yesterday. That's the kind of information you need to have immediately. You need to have it at your fingertips. What is selling? And spend some time with it as well. And then all the way down at the bottom, I have a group of under contract properties, okay? And you can see the dates of the contracts here. One of these, for some reason, didn't get put in. Says the contract was October, but the realtor must have forgotten to put that into Stratus. So we finally have that information, and hopefully that will sell soon. What I might do sometimes is perhaps just filter out the closed and, oops, excuse me, the closed. I just want to get this bar out of my way so I can show you. If I use my side panel here and I just select closed, and then I want to use control and do under contract, I can then just focus on this group. And you just periodically want to take a look, check on them. If you're not familiar with the property, get familiar with it, especially the under contracts. We're going to talk a little bit more about under contracts in just a moment. So just to refresh on that one, today's listings every day, open it up, select 3 days back. Let me just mention that if you forget and leave it at today, it's just since midnight. So let's say an agent at 11:30 last night finally got around to sitting down at the computer and posting the sold price for their listing that closed yesterday. You're not going to see it if you leave that at today. That's why you always want to go a few days back. I wish the default was 1 day, but it's today. But just to be safe, go 3 days back. All right, I'm going to check for questions on that. Okay, Steve says he doesn't have sound, but since I'm not hearing from any others, I assume all of you are hearing my voice. If you joined us late, there is a handout, Improve Your CMA Skills. It's in the GoToWebinar panel at the top of your screen, and you can just click on that to download it and print it out. I will also make it available to you if you want by email after this class is finished. Also, I'm recording this session. I forgot to mention that I am recording it, and I will post it in the Stratus Support Center. I'll show you a little bit about that later. That's where we post all of our previous webinars and things like that. Okay. Now, the next step I want you to do is I want you to study and retain, keep for yourself, a printout of all the sold listings for the previous month. So we're in February now, today's February 12th, so I want to show you how to print a list of everything that's sold in January, okay? And then I'm going to show you a couple ways to make the report even better. So we're going to put our 2 towns in. We're going to do Belmore and Merrick. And you're going to put in a title date, and of course it's not there. And actually that's a great example of where you can figure out where your mistake is. The reason it's not there, title date, is because I left this at available here. I almost always forget to switch over, toggle over to unavailable if I'm looking for solds. Now I have the title date field right here. And I can type in that I want January 1st. Actually, I'll use the calendar, and I want to go to January 31st. I want to know everything that's sold from January 1st to January 31st in Belmore and Merrick. So I'm going to submit that. And you're going to see all the sold prices. The order that it comes out in right now is by listing price, not sold price. So you're going to see a little jumping around in here. So you can, of course, sort this by sold price. Just click on the header and click sort, and then you have lowest to highest. If you want the most expensive sold at the top, just sort again, and now you have the most expensive one at the top. But there's a couple of things that would really be helpful, I think, to have here in your report. For example, I'd like to know whether or not any of these were REOs or short sales, right? Wouldn't you? So what I'm going to do is add a column in between sold price and style. I'm just going to click on style and go to add a column. And first thing I'm going to do is the REOs. I'm going to find that. And you see how it added that right here to my report. And now I'm going to do the short sales. So same thing. Click on the column to the right of where you want it to go and add a column, and this time it's going to be short sale. Okay, so we've got some good information there about whether or not the property sold either as an REO or a short sale, and that can help us a lot when we see the list price and the sold price. Now, the other thing that I think is helpful to have is a little more price history. The list price is the last price. And that doesn't tell us where did they start? What was the starting point for this? So I'm going to add two other prices that you can add to this report, and that's going to be original listing price and the prior listing price. So same way as I did over here, I'm going to click because I want the new column to go in between zip and list price. And I'm going to add the original listing price. Original price, so I've added that right there, and then I'm going to add prior listing price. There we go. So here's where you can really kind of see, look at the jump in this one. It went from 529. I'm sure there was a number of prices in between there, which you could see in the history, ultimately down to 399, and then had a little bit of a bidding war on it there. So they were on the right track finally here, but the 529 certainly was an unrealistic number. So sort this however makes sense to you and then print it. You could sort it by street name, an alphabetical list by street name, if that's helpful. You could sort it by, as I showed you, by the sold price, or if you wanted by title date. And then you're going to print this. You're actually going to go to your icon at the action bar at the top here. Don't use your browser printer because it won't come out right. Use your Stratus print option here. We want the list rows, and we'll just go ahead and show you that in a preview. I was having a little bit of a problem printing earlier, but it seems good. So here's a really good solid list for you to keep on your desk, or even just print the PDF to wherever you keep your online documents, maybe your Dropbox or something like that. And you really can spend some time when you have time studying this and taking a look. What did these properties sell for? How long were they on the market? I forgot to mention DOM is days on market. Okay, this is telling us how long. You have some that are 9 days on the market and some as much as 300 days on the market a year. So I hope that you find that to be a helpful. And again, all the steps that I've covered here are on the handout that you can print yourself from the GoToWebinar panel, or you can email me after the class is over, and I will email it to you if you have any difficulty downloading it before we're done. But I'll give you an extra chance to remember how to do that. So all these steps. Now, one thing I want to do, though, is I want to save this one, right? This is a good one, and I don't want to have to do that again where I add the columns and I move things. Sometimes I like to remove things, clean it up. I don't need zip code. I probably don't need the expiration date, so I'm going to remove that one. Just kind of clean it up so it really works for you. You can also move things around if you want the, let's say you want the ML number over on the left, you could just drag it. You just click and drag, I've got my finger down, and then let it go where you want it. So it works best if you set up this report the way you want it. And then once you do that, you're going to save it by going to customize here. And some of you who are advanced, you can do even more with this in terms of the column, the length of the column, the headers. Prior was kind of long, so maybe you could just make it prior, something like that. But I do want to save this one, okay? So I'm going to click on save, and I'm going to call this my sold report. And then anytime I want to print that, I just select it off of this list here of my saved customized reports here. Okay. All right, I'm going to check for questions on that. Oh, good, thank you. Let's see. Yeah, some people are just jumping in. I've recorded from the beginning. So Marina says she doesn't see the Stratus print option. I've actually heard that before. Sometimes if you have your screen really zoomed in a lot, let's say you're like this. Let me just try this again. Like you've kind of zoomed in and your text is really large, you can lose some of these icons at the top. So if you try Control-0 just to put your screen back to its original setting, that may help you with the print icon. But I would say, Marina, if that doesn't help, let's get you connected with MLS customer service and maybe they can tell you. I use the browser Chrome. I find that I have the least amount of issues with Chrome. On my Mac, I most often use Safari on my Mac, and I don't have any problems. I am curious, Marina, if you're on a Mac, because I think that's where I saw that issue before with the print icon. So I like to zoom in just a little bit so everybody can kind of see what I'm doing. Okay, so those are our two first steps that we've done. We did today's listings, and then the next step was to print yourself a sold report every month. You don't have to do it by month. You could do everything if you wanted that's sold. You could even do a year's worth of solds. But the more you study this and the more you look at these properties carefully to see why did this property sell for close to the selling price and something else maybe sold for 25,000 less. All right, you're going to, each one of these, you're going to look through them, and in time, you're going to learn what these prices, how this happened. You can even put them on the map. That will help you as well, so that you can see where they are, and then you'll start to get a sense of the sold prices. So here we are kind of south of Merrick here, and we're going to see, generally, you're going to see some higher prices, um, up to 800, 735 in this area, maybe more in the 4s and 5s, right? You see that? So you're going to start to see, and of course, you'll get those brand new houses or completely renovated houses here that are going to sell for more as well. So it's a pretty hot market, this particular area. You have a lot of, it looks like you have a lot of bidding wars, things like that. So just remember that you can always toggle back and forth. Up here at the top left, I'm circling with my mouse. In the action bar, the options for how you can look at your listings, right? We're on the map right now, see how it's a little darker gray. But if I want to return to that list view that I had before, I just click on list. All right. And again, once you created your custom report, whenever you come here for the first time each day, it'll be at the default. See, the Res U is the default. That's the one MLS created. But I want to see it in my sold report. So I simply click on sold. Okay, so you can have as many of these customized reports, and you click on customize. You can even set it as your default, which I don't recommend, because if you're looking at available listings, this makes no sense at all. Okay. All righty. Now, the third step that I'm going to recommend is that you start practicing pricing properties. So what we're going to do is we're going to look for, let me just return to the info center. We'll clear our heads. We're going to find the properties that are under contract right now, okay, in your town. So again, it's unavailable. And I'm going to put in, let's see, click here and put Merrick and Belmore. Okay, and we want only under contract. So you need to use this last status change field right here for that. When you click on it, it shows you all the status: closed, expired, new, pending bank approval, price change, rented, under contract, withdrawn, release. We just want to look at the under contracts. Okay, so I'm going to submit that. And again, all of these steps are in the handout that I created for you, so you won't have to worry at all. Now, what I want to do is I want to guess on these. I want to note my own guess at what I think these are actually going to sell for, because even though they're under contract, we don't know what the sold price will be. This is the list price. You don't know until the day of closing what it will sell, what it actually sold for. So what we're going to do is maybe sort them first. I'm going to just sort them by contract date, and then I'm going to look for the ones that I think are going to close pretty soon, and that would be these ones probably November, October, November. So I'm going to just sort, just kind of just limit it to a more manageable number. So I'm just picking the November ones, and I want to get rid of the rest. So I come to my action bar at the top here, and I click on narrow. And now these are the 11 properties. These are the properties I'm going to make a guess at. Okay, I'm going to practice, and then I'm going to see how close was I. Was I close or was I way off? And then try to figure out why you were way off. So the first thing you're going to do is put these in a cart. These 11 listings are going to go in a special cart that will be found over here in listing carts, so that you can monitor it and you can watch whether you were accurate on these guesses. So I'm going to click on carts here. I've got 11 listings, but I need to create a new cart, okay? And I'm going to call it guesstimates. I always start with an asterisk if I want it at the top of my list. Guesstimates for Belmore. I'm not even sure that's how you would spell guesstimates. Belmore and Merrick, okay? And then I just plop all 11 into that one, and I click add. So now, if I go over to listing carts, okay, I'm done with that search. So now I'm going to just go to all of my listing carts. There's the one I just created. Okay, the guesstimates for Belmore and Merrick. And I just want to go right to the results, just to the list. And in order to note your guesstimate, here's what you're going to do. You're going to open the first one, and you're going to take a little time looking at this. I was looking at this one earlier. It's really quite adorable. Perfect, they say, as they say, for someone who's downsizing. It just looks so manageable. It's all been redone. So you're going to look through the pictures, been completely redone. It's on the water, which is pretty amazing for that price, $269. I like to look at how long has it been on the market? 52 days. They started at $299, didn't get much. $279, $269. Hard for me to believe, but I'm just guessing that it would go much below the $269. And so what I'm going to do is down here at the bottom of the listing, I'm going to add a note. I'm the only one that's going to see this note. So my guess is going to be, I think it'll probably sell for, let's do 265. I think that's a good guess on this one. Okay. And so you're going to use your listing cart. Once you see that this one actually, once you go to your listing cart and you see a sold price appear here, right? This first one right here, once you see a sold price, click on it and compare the sold price, which will show right here, to your guess at the bottom there. So that way you can really start to see, are you getting a better sense of what houses actually sell for? There is one thing I wanted to show you from that sold report that I skipped past, so I'll try to remember that. But so again, so what we did was we put a list of under contracts. These are listings under contract, probably going to close sometime February, March, I would think. It's amazing how different it can be. Sometimes people close in 6 weeks, and sometimes it takes 4 to 6 months for closing. So, but this way, once I see a selling price in here, these 11 listings will stay in this cart. Once I see a selling price, I can go in and check my guesstimate. So I'll do that for the second one. This one, pretty big brick house. We want to check where it is. I'm going to click on the globe to get the map. Now that doesn't tell me much, so I'm going to zoom out. So we're a little north of Sunrise Highway. Okay, that's telling me something. And then we're going to go back to the list. Oh, I'm sorry, I meant to go to the full view. And let's see how long was it on the market. So it went on October. They never did a price change. So it sold pretty quickly in 46 days. We don't see any information that it was not a short sale or an REO. And if we look at the pictures, we see a beautiful updated kitchen, absolutely gorgeous. So you know how important that is to many buyers. So that's going to be worth it to them. Although I do think as we're looking through, some updating needs to be done, certainly some painting and maybe some wood floors and things like that. So I'm going to guess on this one, and I'm not an expert like you guys are, so I'm going to guess, let's say 690. That's going to be my guess on this one. Okay. I could be so completely wrong. Maybe there was a bidding war on this, but that's how you're going to learn is you're going to make a guess after you study it. And then when you see that it's sold, you're going to compare those two numbers. Okay. So that's what I call the guesstimates. I'm going to check for questions now and see. Yeah, Kyle was asking, a lot of people do ask this, Kyle, what do the abbreviations stand for? I have, if you email me afterwards, I have a list, but BOM stands for back on the market. So that would mean that it had a contract, the contract fell through, and now it's back on the market. So that's a BOM. Years ago, we used to call that contract canceled. But sometimes there's other reasons. Yes, and Kyle, my email was on the original slide here, boconnor@mlsli.com. So just everybody, if you jumped in late, jot down my email. So if there's questions that I did not get to, then you can email me afterwards. Okay, so that's step 3. So now let's move on to step 4. And this is what I call a mini CMA. So I'm going to clear my screen, go right back to the info center. And the last 2 steps are really kind of the process of starting a CMA. And I want to first show you a little short way to do one in Stratus that'll help you with practice. And then I want to spend a good amount of time on the RPR CMA. I think it's a tool all of you should be using. It's so much more comprehensive and detailed than you're going to get here in Stratus. And especially if you're a new agent, I think you should just learn the new one, learn the RPR one, and get a leg up on that from the other agents as well, okay? So before I do that though, there was one thing I wanted to show you on my sold list. So we had a group of sold properties. And by the way, you could save your search, so you don't have to. If you put criteria in here, right? I did Belmore and Merrick before, and I did that January. Do you remember that? You can just click on Save Search here and give it a name, and that way you can, I already did name it, but that way you won't have to. It'll just show up right here in your drop down. Why should we type when we don't have to, right? So when I pull up that list, these were the solds in January. The one thing I forgot to show you when we were here was, let me put them in, sort them in sold price order. I want to show you the statistics option here at the top. I'm not sure if everybody knows about that. This is going to give me some great information about these sold properties. It's a little calculator here at the top, so I'm going to click on that. Let me make this a little bit bigger and talk about it. So the 2 key things that I want you to notice are the percent difference, this one right here. So the average percent difference from the last listing price to the sold price is 2%. So that means that for a $500,000 house, it was listed at $500,000 on average. Let's see, 10% is $5,000 on, so 5%. 5,000 is 1%, $10,000 is 2%. On average, a $500,000 house will generally sell for about 490 in this current market. So that's a pretty close number. A lot of times when the market is slow, you're going to see fives and sixes in there and the percent difference. So, but remember, that's the last listing price. That's not the price they started at. Okay, that's going to always be a higher number because many, many listings have price changes. Okay, I would say a very high percentage of them end up having to have a price change. When you price it right, it might sell quickly, but if you don't price it right, you end up having to do price changes. And then the other thing I wanted you to focus in on the statistics is the average days on the market. So in this particular market in Belmore and Wanto, it's 82 days on the market, so less than 3 months, which is really, really a pretty hot market. If it's less than 3 months, you know, you're pretty much, you're very much in a seller's market, and I would say that's true there. Once you start to see maybe I don't know, 4, 5, 6 months, if that's an average, that's certainly going to be more buyer's market. Buyers will have the upper hand, it seems, in that one. So again, the way I did that was I pulled up my sold. This statistics option will always be here at the top of any list, but it's most helpful when you're looking at the sold properties because it can calculate that days on market and the percent difference. Okay, so that was one thing that I forgot to show you before. Okay, so we're going to do what I have named, and no one else, it's just, I made this up. I made up what I call a Stratus mini CMA. And all the steps that I'm going to show you are in that handout. I wrote them all up step by step, so you won't have to worry about remembering anything that I'm showing you here. So the first thing we're going to do is find an under contract listing that we're going to do our little mini CMA on. So let's just find something. Let's just do Merrick. And we're going to, again, ask for the, oh, I forgot, unavailable. Under contracts are unavailable. So now I will see UC. Okay. And there's 58. So I'm just going to submit that and find one that looks interesting to me. Okay, and a little bit before I had favorited this 6 Newell Road as one that I wanted to do my little mini CMA on. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to take a look at it, a careful look at it, and print this. I actually want to have a copy of this in front of me when I do my little mini CMA, so I can see the number of bedrooms, baths, the style, things like whether it's short sale or REO, which this is not, those kinds of things. So now that I have that printed out and sitting next to me, I want to go and do a map search. I'm going to look for comparable listings similar to this property, sold. We're just going to do sold for this mini CMA. And here's how we're going to do it. So I'm going to go to the search menu. This is the search, you click on search here. This is the main search menu, all right? Because I'm going to toggle over to map search for this one, all right? And I want only sold, so I'm gonna select unavailable here, okay? And then I'm gonna click on continue. Now, when you do the maps this way, it opens to your market area, okay, where your office is located, which may not be anywhere near, and I want to go to Merrick, so it's clearly not out there by Port Jefferson. So what I do is I go to this push pin at the top. Do you see where my green arrow is pointing? That's one of your best friends in the mapping tools is locations. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in that address of the under contract, and click find right next to it. So you see what it did? It put a push pin right on top of 6 Newell Road. All right. Now you see how Stratus is searching, searching, searching. When you ask for unavailables, there's just thousands and thousands of properties in there. It's 3 years worth of solds, all the under contracts, all the expireds for the last year. So you got to kind of narrow it down. And one way to do that is to get closer. So you zoom in Give it a second. Still too many properties. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say I want on this panel on the side, I'm going to say I want the ones that have gone into contract in the past 6 months. So for contract date over here, I'm going to type in, I'm going to go back 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'll just go to August 1st. Now watch what happens. See, right away, it popped in. The closed are the blue ones, and the green ones are the under contracts. And you know that because this little legend right here, you see where I'm pointing legend? That tells you what the colors mean. All right. So what we want for our little mini CMA is the one on Newell, and we want 3 or 4 sold listings that we think are similar. So I'm going to actually get a little bit closer because I'm going to have a lot to choose from here. Now, what we might do is put in a little bit of info about the house over here on the side, not too much, but this one has 3 bedrooms. So we want to make sure we're looking at 3-bedroom homes. And the one on Newell was called a colonial, but it looked an awful lot like a cape to me, or even an expanded cape. So I'm kind of going to leave that off and just work with these right now, okay? Now, the one on Newell is listed at, let's see, what was listed at 510. So we know that it's probably not going to sell for more than that. So let's look at everything maybe that's sold under 525. I'm sorry, listed under 525. Actually, we could do sold if we wanted. Let's leave it at that. And I don't like what I got here. I'm going to take it out. This is a lot of trial and error here, gang. Okay. Now here's how you're going to create your little mini CMA. You're going to hover over, I put my pointer right on top of each one of these listings. And if I think that it's a good comp, this 510 was probably used in the CMA for that one on Newell because it's also listed at 510, and this just sold. And it looks very similar, actually. It's very close by. So I am going to use this one. I'm going to check the little box here. You see that? I'm going to find 4 of them. I'm going to check on number 11 here. No, not similar. No. Let's see what number 10 is. Yeah, this is 3 bedrooms, 1.5 baths. It might be a little bit larger, but we could use that one. I'm going to check it off. And this one is a Tudor, a 3-bedroom Tudor, but it did sell for right at the 510, so we're going to use that. It doesn't have to be the same style when you're choosing. So how many do I have? I have 1, 2, 3. I need maybe one more that's not too far away. I thought there was another one on that Earl. It's not showing up. Yeah, we could use this one, even though it's a split, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. I'm going to plop that one in there. I'm not being as careful as you would normally. I'm really just doing this quickly so that I can get to the next step. And the one that I want to put on here is that 6 Newell Road, but I can't get to it because my little push pin is in the way. So I'm going to remove the push pin. Whoops, sorry, I'm all over the place here. You see where when I push pin hover over the push pin, I can remove, it just doesn't want to let me do it. Here's what I'm going to do is zoom in closer. Okay, there we go. Now I can remove the push pin and then add the Newell property to my group, okay? So now I have, let's just push this up a little bit. You can see that I have the 6, oh no, I changed my map, sorry, I have to zoom back out. If you zoom your map in, you're gonna lose some of the ones you had chosen before. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now that I've selected those is I'm gonna change my view from the map to the list. You see list here? And I'm going to hit narrow so I can just have those. Oh, darn, I lost a couple of them. Let's go back to our map. I think it's because, So what you can do is expand and let me just pick them from here. Well, now let me put the whole thing on the map. Okay. So let's do that at 510. We'll do this one right on the same street. That's 2. We were going to take this tutor, and we had one over here. Yeah, we'll take this one. Okay. I shouldn't have zoomed out on the map. That's what caused me to lose some of the ones. So now when I click on list, I've got those 5. I'm going to narrow. Oh, I forgot to select Newell. Let me do that one. Narrow that down, and there's my 5. Okay. Now I want to make sure that Newell is at the top of the list. If for some reason it's not, let's say it's in order by town or something like, or even by street name. Do what you can do to get the subject property, your your under contract property at the top, which in this case would work if I sort by sold price, because that one is not sold yet. Now that I've got them lined up the way I want, I'm going to go to the view, right? This is how you would get to broker full view. And instead of broker full, I'm going to select comparison. And this is what I call a little mini CMA. Okay, so here's my subject property lined up with my, lined up with my comps that I chose. And it's 2 pages because the other one is on this page, the second page. Okay, and so this is a good practice for you. Print this out if you have to and compare, go along line by line and see, gee, would this have really been a good comp or not? So what you're doing here is you're practicing looking for comparable properties and seeing if you can get better at that. Can you pick ones that have similar lot size? We did pretty well on that. Same bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, same number of baths. Our subject has 2, but I did pick a couple with 1.5 baths. You see what I'm saying? So you want to try to improve your skills at picking comparable listings. And in time, you will see that the key things that matter, of course, are going to be bedrooms, bath, lot size, condition of the house, those are going to be key things. And renovation, if it's had a major renovation, that really falls in with the condition of the house, as I mentioned. And that's where your photos are going to come in so handy. When you're picking comps, you want to pick properties that look similar inside to yours, that don't need a major renovation if yours doesn't need a major renovation. Okay, so again, all the steps for this are on my handout there, this little mini CMA, but it's a really good exercise for you to practice picking comparable listings and seeing if you can get more accurate at it, and then subsequently pricing by looking at the numbers at the bottom. This one ultimately got listed at 510, and I'm going to guess is probably going to sell pretty close there because we found some comps very similar on the same street that sold with the same price. Okay. All righty. So let's return to our Newell property. I'm going to check for questions. If anyone has a question, just type that in to the questions bar. If anybody's watching this on the recording, you won't have access to the handout, so you can just email me, boconnor@mlsli.com, and ask me for the handout for the Improve Your CMA Skills webinar, and I'd be happy to send that to you. All right, checking for questions. Marina, email address again. Yeah, it's boconnor@mlsli.com. You're going to get an email after this webinar, and you'll also be able to just reply to that. I'm the one who gets all of those replies, and that's another way you can reach me. Okay, so what I want to do now is focus on Newell. I'm just going to take these other ones off. And I'm going to go to the broker full for Newell. And the last thing I'm going to show you is how to do a CMA in the RPR program. Now, if you're a new agent, you may not be familiar with RPR. Some of you, even who are experienced agents, aren't familiar. You all have an account in this program called RPR. It stands for Realtor Property Resource. And it is a product of the National Association of Realtors, and it is for realtors only. So I want you to think of it like a Zillow, because it's all 50 states, maybe even Puerto Rico, all 50 states, information, public records, what's for sale, past sales, all of that kind of thing, but it's for realtors only. Consumers do not have access to it. So there's tremendous reports that you can create here. And one of my favorite ones that you can do in this is the RPR CMA. All right. And one way to start one is to just click on this RPR link right at the top of any listing. Just try this out. Click on RPR at the top of any listing. Okay. And if it asks you to log in at any point and you don't know your password, don't ask for a new account. Just tell them you forgot your password. You all have an account. Every realtor got one. And if new agents join, they get one and they get an email. But if you don't have the password, no worries. Just put in your email address and say forgot password, and they'll send that and you can reset it. Okay. So we could spend hours on this, and they have amazing training. If you look under this graduation cap here, they have unbelievable tutorials on not only what I'm going to show you, but on how to use this entire program. They have a whole commercial side to it. It's just unbelievable. It's really a fantastic tool, and it really gives us some things that we don't have all that well done in Stratus, if I can say that. Okay, so it just sort of gives you that extra. So what we want to do is we want to just check the history. What are they showing about this property? The pictures are coming from MLS, so it's going to be the same ones that we saw on Stratus. Okay. And they're showing an RVM here. That's their realtor valuation model. And the RVM is their Zestimate, but it's a better Zestimate because they are using really recent sold data coming from the MLS. I don't know if you realize that when a property sells, let's say a house sold today, the listing agent puts it on Stratus, what the sold price was. Everybody knows in the MLS. We don't send that to Zillow. Zillow's on their own. If they want to know if something sold and how much it sold for, they can go to county records and get it there, which can take a while, right? It can take a while for them to get that updated information. But RPR, we do send the sold prices to. So the estimates are going to be better, a better quality. And they'll tell you that this range is really important here. It could be anywhere between these numbers, depending on the condition of the house. The computer picked these numbers, but they've never been in the house, right? So if it's in fabulous, unbelievably, completely redone condition, it might be higher to this, closer to this 566 number. Well, I'm looking at it right now and those cabinets need to go, okay? And I think I see a white refrigerator. So we're gonna maybe be on the middle or even the lower end. If it really needs a lot of work, that's gonna be on the lower end. But what I want you to do is when you do the CMA, make sure you do it on a property that you've had a chance to tour. When you go to broker open houses, I'm sure that you take copious notes on the condition of the house, you ask about the roof, you ask questions about the renovations and things like that. That's going to be the property you want to practice doing CMAs on, okay? Because you're going to be able to do a couple of things that you wouldn't be able to do if you hadn't been inside the house, all right? So the first thing we're going to do is refine the value. Now, the thing to keep in mind here is that whatever you do in this area here, the refining and creating a CMA, no one else sees it. Nobody else in your office will see it. Nobody else in the MLS will see it. It's really your private information that stays with you. Okay, so don't be worried about putting things in here. You're not changing this RVM for other agents to see. You're just refining it for your own information. So I'm going to click on refine right here. This is really one of my favorite things because we can't do it in Stratus. So the first, let's start at the top, right? 6 Newell, we're going to refine the value by adjusting the basic facts. All right, 8 rooms. For some reason, the bedrooms is not on there, so I'm going to add 3 bedrooms, and everything else looks good. All right, so I'm going to click on apply changes. That doesn't change the estimate at all. It's just the information was missing before. The second thing we're going to do is refine the value based on any home improvements. All right, now when I looked at that listing, they had just put in new windows, new siding, and a new gas burner. So let me note those. Windows are going to be window replacement. Let's say they did the vinyl windows and they did it, let's say maybe they did it in March of 2017. No, let's do 2018. And it cost them, oh gosh, this is where I'm really bad, new windows. Let's say they spent about $7,500. They did the whole house. Now watch what happens when I click on add here. It increased the estimate by $4,909. Even though they spent $7,500, because of the depreciation of the value of that improvement, it's down to $4,909. Okay, those numbers are created by a company that specializes in appraisal numbers and depreciation of homes and the renovations. Okay, so you can feel pretty confident about that. Now, the next home improvement they did was a gas burner. I don't think that's going to be on the list. So what I could do is just click on other, and I'm going to say new gas burner and the date they completed it. We'll say they did everything in 2018. And again, I'm really bad at this. I'm going to guess 4,000. Pay no mind. Okay, so you can see it took a little bit off of that $4,000. So now we're up 8,509. So you would go through and you would put in the improvements, but keeping in mind that you want to watch this number here. If you've already researched this enough and been in the house and know that it's not going to sell for more than 515, don't put all of this in. It's not going to help you or help them to think that their house is worth 528. So this is going to take some tweaking. And what you're going to want to do is put in the needed improvements. So let's say this house needs a new roof. I'm going to just type that in here, needs new roof. And we're going to say that's probably going to be at least for this house, maybe 12 grand. And I just click add. Now that's a straight $12,000 off because the money hasn't even been spent yet. The new buyers are going to have to pull that out of their own pockets. Okay, so you see we're back down to 516 because we put in what it needed. I think it needs some kitchen work. I'll just put kitchen cabinets. And again, let's put in maybe 3,000. I bet you can't get anything for 3,000, but I'm just guessing. Again, so now we've reduced that value we're down to 513. We're getting much closer to what we think it's going to actually sell for. Now, the last thing you want to do here is these sliders. Okay, these are going to help you determine how's the market. Well, the market's pretty hot there, so I'm going to slide this up. The exterior of the house is pretty compared to the others on the street. The interior about the same. The lot size is about the same. Now, when it comes to the view is about the same, but it's on a corner. So it doesn't have the same privacy that some of the other neighbors have because it's on the corner. So I'm going to lower this quite a bit here. Actually, I'm going to even lower it a little bit more so it just becomes kind of neutral. So our final number here for this part is 512. I'm just going to leave that there. All right. And again, these numbers stay for your account only. Only Elizabeth, that's me, Beth O'Connor. I'm the only one that's going to ever see these numbers and these things that I've entered here. Okay. So to do the CMA, they call it a seller's report. And you're going to start by going to the comp analysis here. So you click on the comp analysis. Leave this at the first one here, comp analysis. The other one is sort of more what appraisers use. It's even more detailed. You can get better. You can play with that when you have time. So first, we just want to confirm the home facts. Just take a quick look through, make sure everything is good. Looks good to me. Now we want to find comps. Okay, so it puts my Newell Road right on the map, right? I might even want to zoom in a little bit so that I'm looking at pretty much south of Southern State and maybe a little bit this way, right? And we can put in what we want to look at, 3-bedroom houses with, this one had 2 baths. Let's see what we can find. Now, living area can be an issue because not all agents put that on their listings. So actually what I just like to do is uncheck that, okay? And then I hit search. And what you're going to see on the map is the nearby properties, and this works just like Stratus. So if you see, this is one on Newell that recently sold for 570. I think we used that for our comps as well on when we were in Stratus. Remember this one? So I'm going to check on this. I'm going to add it to my comps list. You see that? And then I'm going to keep going through. Here's the other one we also used. The blue star means they used it for the RVM, which could be accurate or not accurate because it's a computer. All right, and we'll take this one too. Okay, and then below that, way down, you'll have some that are currently on the market for sale. All right, what I like about this is that it tells you how far away it is. The closest ones are at the top. Okay, so this one, 589, 4 bedrooms. It's a bigger house. I'm not quite sure why they're giving me 4-bedroom houses. Let's just check that column. Am I right there? Yeah, I thought I asked for only 3-bedroom houses, but it's giving me. So we want to look for the 3 bedrooms. I'm not really finding too many. So we'll just use some of these just to show, okay? We'll add this one, and that one's way too much money. We'll add this one too, okay? So now I've got 3 solds and 2 availables, and I can just click on this update valuation and close. Okay, now I've got a pretty wide range of comps here. I'm not going to show this number actually on my CMA because it's much higher than they're going to get. So when it comes to printing, I won't include this average of the comps. Then the last thing you'll love being able to do is adjusting the comps here. So I'm going to click on adjust comps, and this will help a lot where you can say whether the comp is better or worse than your subject. All right, this one we think is just about the same. This one too. This one is quite a bit better, so we're going to go up on that one. So it kind of just reweighs the value of each of the comps that you picked. This one, this 589 is way better. It's a much bigger house. And this one is not as nice, so we're going to just slide that one down. So that's something you really can't do. And I'm doing it very quickly. You would spend some time looking at that, okay? And once you've done that, close it. Oh, no, then I don't want to save. I'm sorry, I thought save was, there we go, update valuation. And then it's pretty much done. The report can be generated. I like to round this number off. Click on edit here. Maybe we're going to recommend that they list it at 529 and that they go anywhere between 515 but no higher than 535. Okay, and then we can save that. And then you just create the seller's report. Click on Create Report. Now, the one thing you want to take your time with is what to print in it. All of these, when I clicked on more details here, it opened up all the things that will print. But I remember I told you I didn't want that comp analysis number to show because it was a little bit too high. So I have those things unchecked. And, I took out this market activity. It's a little bit too much. But let me run it and show you. So you scroll all the way down and you click on Run Report. And it takes a couple of minutes. So this is a good chance for me to ask if there's any last questions, because it is 4 o'clock. The time went so quickly. If you joined us late, I've recorded this and there is a handout. I would take a moment now, if you have not clicked on the handout in the GoToWebinar panel on the right side, then you want to click on it now and it will download to your computer and then you can print it. And it has all of the steps that we covered in this webinar. So when I post this webinar, you'll find it on Stratus. When you go to the light bulb at the top, the support light bulb, let me just make this smaller so everybody can see. You see the light bulb at the top? That's our support center where I post all of my tutorials, all the webinars, all the help you need, you'll find in here. So if you just go to webinars, I will be posting the recording for this. I don't know if it'll be able to be finished processing today, but certainly by late tomorrow or Friday, I should have it up there. Okay, and you can watch all of our other ones as well. Okay, and we actually going to do this webinar again in March. So if you wanted to sit through it a second time, that would be perfectly fine. All right, so let's see. There's our report. So let's take a look. So you can see, so what you're doing is you're practicing CMAs, you're getting better at them by actually running them for properties that are not your listing. And then you're going to see, once it does sell, how close were you, right? Here's all those sliders. This is a great CMA. It really is so nice. Your sellers will really love these. And the good thing about you practicing it is when you actually do get called to do a listing presentation, you'll know how to do this. You won't have to be panicking that you don't really know how to do it, okay? And it's got just all these great graphs and information. Look at that price increase from 2009, just jumping, and that's doing pretty much just Merrick. It's got these heat maps. It's just an incredible report. And I think the thing you'll like the best, let me get to, this comps map will show the comps that you picked and indicates the colors and things like that. So, I hope you'll try that. I hope you'll try all of the things that I've suggested in this webinar. Let me put up my contact information again. If you need help or you need that handout, boconnor@mlsli.com. Also, don't forget that you can contact customer service at MLS. I'm going to put their information here in the chat. Let me send you that. So their phone number is 631-661-4800, extension 1. They're the MLS experts. And their email is customerservice@mlsli.com. I'm sending you that also through the chat in your GoToWebinar panel over there on the side. So I'm going to let you go. I'm finished. I will leave the webinar open for just another minute for those of you who didn't get to download the handout or if you have questions. All right. So thanks everybody for joining. Hope you have a great day and good luck with your CMA skills. So I don't see any additional questions. If you're still hanging on, don't forget that you can email me, bod'connor@mlsli.com. So have a great night, everyone. Bye now.